there, kiddies. It's Kris Gethin here, and I am proud to present our very first male athlete for Kaged Muscle, Jesse Norris. Thank you very much, and welcome to the team, brother.
Yes, thank you.
So Jesse Norris and I just went through a workout here. He put me through a deadlift session on Saturday. It's Tuesday today. Went through some accessory work today, which was more deadlifts. And I don't know, it's just very intimidating in there. So we decided to come into the kiddies room here where we feel a little bit more at home.
Absolutely.
You feel good? You look comfortable?
I'm very comfortable.
So Jesse is pound for pound the strongest guy on the planet right now. 198 pounds?
Yep, 198.
Right, okay. And even though we look the same age, he's only 22 years old. So Jesse, I want to learn a little bit about you for myself, because we haven't really spoke that many times, even though we're both in Boise here now.
Right.
And obviously the people that don't know who you are want to know a little bit about your background. Like, I look at you, you don't look like the typical kind of power lifter. Like, you're in good shape, pretty good looking.
Thank you.
You know, you've got abs, and you train kind of different to the general guy, but let's break it down a little bit earlier than that. So what got you into powerlifting? Were you into bodybuilding first, and at what age did this kind of entice you?
So I originally started, 8th grade was my initial start into the weight room. Just got in, get better at football, probably like any young kid does. You know, they want to get better at sports. From there, played football next year, got a concussion, out of the team, stopped playing football at that point, and one of the football coaches introduced me into the sport, and I was lucky enough to have a coach that was willing to, you know, show me the technique, show me the lifts, and really put me through the workouts at first. And then just over the years, I started to develop what I did and did not like, what worked for me, and then obviously, just out of my own curiosity and I guess beliefs, I just wanted to look good and be strong. So I did whatever I had to do to get there.
So did your coach drive you to train a certain way, or this is something that you'd watched on YouTube, read through books, or you just completely adapted this way of training for yourself?
So the current way I train is what I've adapted to, what works best for me and what pertains to my goals. Originally, I was on a Chico program, low volume, high weights very often, and for a while there, I was kind of bulky. Even though I was only 181 to 198 throughout my high school career, I was still kind of chubby. I was never lean or ripped. And then once I graduated, started working at bodybuilding.com, so I was more in the bodybuilding realm, and at that point I started to focus my training on higher volume, more reps and frequency, and then just trying to get in better shape overall. So because you was trying to get in better shape as well, did your diet change, or you found that just came by default of the volume of your workouts? Eventually I had to change my diet. I worked nights for years, and being on nights I never laid out my meals or anything like that, so I was eating like crap, and I just eventually decided I need to change. I want to change, and I want to look good and, you know, feel good. So at that time I was looking into bodybuilding.com. There's a lot of plenty of information on there to write my own meal plan and figure out what worked best for me, and it really just came down to eat plenty of protein, low on fats, and I stick to generally lower carbs too. But
what about on your, well, I was going to say, what about on your training days? But you told me that you train 7 days a week. So even on your heavy days, you eat relatively low carbs as well?
My carb and protein, I guess macros, are quite the same. So I try to get in about 300 grams protein plus, and at least 300 grams of carbs too.
What about your fats? Are they like naturally occurring there?
Yeah, just whatever. Try to keep them low, but it is just whatever comes in, I guess.
Yeah, that's interesting, because I'm of the same sort of realm. I've always kind of gone low fat. I've liked the carbs and I've liked the protein ratio. You know, if my protein goes up, the carbs come down a little bit because protein's sparing. But I've always been really low on fats, and people say there's no way that you can build muscle and build strength when you're low on fats. But you know, I have the naturally occurring, maybe through salmon and red meats and supplementation. But that's pretty much it, you know.
Fish oil.
Yeah.
Red meats. I don't know where
it's
else.
Just, it's just the old school style, and that's what they used to follow in the old school. Maybe some egg yolks in there as well, you know, which I'll do. But other than that, there isn't really that much addition. And I feel the exact same way. So good, we're on the same sort of team there.
All right. Yeah.
Now, as you've been grown up here in Boise and working with bodybuilding.com, and you wanted to get in a little bit better shape, is cardiovascular conditioning a part of your routine?
Yeah, it is.
Is that the norm?
So my cardio might differ from average bodybuilders' cardio. They might be on a stair stepper for 20, 30 minutes. I prefer high intensity cardio, so sprints, crawler, treadmill. Sprints, whatever you want to call them, where you just leave it off and push the belt. That works better for me because it's high intensity and you're focused on power primarily rather than endurance or anything like that. So that's what works best for my program because I want to lift the most weight, and so that fast twitch muscle is always incorporated.
Yeah. So is there a particular time of day that you follow that routine, that you do your cardio?
It's mostly on my accessory days. So my days in between my core lifts. So Wednesday, Friday, Sunday are the primary days. I'll do those.
First thing in the morning or after your workout?
Be right after my workout. So I'll hit my isolation or whatever I got going on that day. And then right after that, I'll hit the treadmill or the prowler. And
right, gotcha.
Yeah.
That's another thing that I do as well. Straight after my workouts, I normally perform the cardio. I just think that allows your body to recover and recuperate a little bit better. You build up a lot of toxins within your body, your lactic acid, and it gives you the opportunity to kind of flush it away. So when you do eat, when you do take your protein, it does allow those nutrients to get transported to the areas to allow for better recovery, I think. And even when you're trying to put on weight, people think bulk in, stay away from cardio.
Yeah.
But number one, we are trying to work out our heart health, but assist with that recovery. I always say, when you look at the people, for instance, in the Tour de France, once they've gone over that finish line, the race isn't finished. That's when they take in their nutrients, and then they get on the watt bike, so they can get rid of all the lactic acid, get the nutrients in there, because they've got to be on that mountain the next day with the same intensity. It's the same in the gym.
Same thing, yeah.
Train with the same intensity the next day. If you're not recovered, that's not going to happen.
Absolutely.
So you told me earlier, when we were talking about other strength athletes, that you don't really look to that many other athletes like online or YouTube to see how anybody else lifts.
Right.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
So is there anybody that you look up to? Is there anybody that motivates you? Anybody that's inspired you?
I mean, as a little kid, I always, everyone grew up with Arnold, in the movies. I always said that's the kind of physique I wanted to have. But just in real life, my older brother, he was always in the fitness and football. As I was in middle school, I was just a skinny kid, and he was packing on muscle and getting stronger. And I was just like, man, I looked up to him a lot when I was younger. And then throughout the years, I decided I wanted to kind of build my own path. So, I have these goals in mind from people that surround me, but ultimately I want to set the foundation for my own,
Like a legacy?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, gotcha. So now you're pound for pound the strongest person on the planet, and you're only 22 years old. Is that relatively a young age in this sport? At what age do most powerlifters, if there is an average, hit their prime?
I believe, there's plenty of numbers that go in and out, but I think most people peak between 28 and maybe the young 30s, strength-wise. And I think it's just, for me, I've been training consistently and so hard since I was the age of 13, 14, and I suppose that's why I've attained this at such a young age.
You've attained it at such a young age, yeah. So do you think you will be able to continue to progress through at the age of 28, 32 and further?
Can't say for now, but I'd like to. Yes.
So how far ahead do you look? Do you look to next year, the year after, or you just look to the next day?
Next day, absolutely.
Because eventually that'll lead to next year.
Yeah.
It's the right way to go. You got to break down,
Yeah.
the reps, the days, the weeks before even looking. But you must have a long-term goal there at the back of your mind, surely.
Absolutely. So I do have a long-term goal, and it's, I have my short-term, and like my most recent meet, I hit 2033 total, and I'm always trying to build my total, which is the 3 lifts combined. So obviously I got to build each lift individually, but so my next goal is 2050, and I'd hope to hit that within a year. But long term, I just want to be set in the record books and kind of been looked up to as maybe the greatest ever. I don't, it's hard to say right now, but that's my ultimate
That's
goal.
at the back of the mind, yeah. Okay, that's great. So is it the competitive front that really motivates you, or is it just hitting your own personal bests?
It's primarily about what I'm doing. It's not, I never look at competitors necessarily, and I'm not comparing myself with anyone else. Every day it's just get individually basis, get better, and progress. So.
Right. Okay, got you. So we got an idea with your nutrition to a certain degree. You eat clean. However, as Candice has just mentioned over here, you don't have that much of an appetite, really.
Right.
Like, how many calories do you even count your calories? Do you know what you get in at the end of the day?
I kind of average them. I'd say between right around 3,500, probably. I don't feel like I eat a ton of food. Just try to stay lean, obviously, and just keep my body weight around 200 to 205, and I'll weigh myself week to week just to make sure, I'm in that range. And if I need to increase my food intake, then I'll increase it, and then decrease, etc. But yeah, I don't count anything.
You just kind of eyeball it and go by how you feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you're at that stage now where you have the experience where you can do that. You know what works and what doesn't. In regards to, like, I always say that hydration is a big portion for me. And, when I've trained clients, I find that, if the body's made up of like 70% fluid, then it really does suffer if you're like 68% fluid. As opposed to, like, if you screw up your foods the day before, then you can still perform.
Yeah.
But when it comes to fluid intake, do you find that as well, that you have to be optimal with your fluid, or you kind of so-so with that as well?
I definitely have to be on top of my water intake. I do a minimum of a gallon a day, or try to, and that's what works best for me.
Yeah.
Obviously, if I've been slacking when I'm in the weight room, like on Saturday when we were training, my calves were cramping up, and that's likely because I just didn't have enough fluid the day before, or enough sodium, maybe too much caffeine could, combination.
Yeah, for sure.
So definitely plays a factor.
Yeah, okay. So now when it comes to, we've got training and nutrition, when it comes to your supplementation, is there anything like out of this world that you do with supplementation? Like me personally, you'll get always a lot of people that, especially when they start out, they think, oh, supplements, I must take all supplements in order for me to change. And I always tell them, look, it's maybe 3 to 5% of your gains.
Yeah.
Without no cake being the foundation of your training and nutrition, there is no icing being a supplementation.
Right.
Is there anything that you find that you do different with your supplementation than other people, or is it more consistency, or you stick to the basics?
I mean, I'm consistent with what I put into my body, and I stick to the basics. It's nothing out of the world. I supplement my protein. One thing I do, which some people may or may not do, is I take CLA and L-carnitine, but that's to help my body utilize fat as energy, and that's the only reason I do it. And that's your basic fish oil and multi, and that's it.
What about as far as like your branched chain or glutamine? Your body doesn't produce that. I understand, and some people supplement with it, some people don't. Some people, for me, I just drink it in my gallon jug all day because it's convenient. But some people like to, load creatine and everything like that. Or how do you take?
I guess I didn't mention those, but those are definitely important for me too. BCAAs and glutamine primarily. I'll drink those throughout my workout, like with the hydrocharge and BCAAs and glutamine combo. And then I have my pre-workout, which helps me really focus get amped up for the workout ahead of me. And other than that, that's all there is to my supplementation.
Because I used to be the kind of guy that I'd take my glutamine first thing in the morning, right before the workout, right after. But now I just find, you know, like especially on my non-training days, I just throw everything in a gallon jug.
Yeah.
Like creatine, glutamine, BCA it's just so much easier and convenient.
Yeah.
You just look like a meathead all day, but
absolutely,
you've got to suffer for your art, right?
I do it during my workout, and that's it.
Yeah. So now moving on. So this is something that I wanted to highlight as well and get people some transparency here. So now, what was the federation that you were competing with in last year and you failed a test?
Yes. So USAPL, IPF is the big drug-free federation. They do the WADA drug testing, so it's World Athletic Drug Testing Association.
Yeah, that's it.
And so I just wasn't familiar with those tests, I suppose.
Because that was the first time that
This was the first year I've been WADA tested. I was tested 2 weeks prior to the meet. I passed that one just fine. And I was tested day of the meet, and that was the one I failed.
Okay. So what was that you failed on? I know what it is, but let's let these guys know.
So I was naive enough to take a pre-workout called Kaged. It's been discontinued for, I want to say, a year now. But I've just so happened to have kept a bottle, you know, around, or my buddy had the bottle, and I asked him for the scoop of pre-workout. But yeah, Kaged, and it's just one of those common pre-workouts which aren't transparent at all about what's in it. So
we can be transparent. Is an actual like a stimulant within there that you failed on, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't remember the chemical structure name for it, some crazy name, but it's one of the stimulants is what I was popped for on my drug test.
Okay, all right. So where does that leave you now moving forward? Like what happens?
So originally they wanted to ban me for 2 years. Luckily enough, I had a lawyer who was within the USAPL that wanted to help me out for free. We got it reduced to a 6-month ban. And that's from the day of the meet. So that was in October. I'll be cleared up in April. And I'm going to go
just a few months from here then.
Yeah, not long. And we're going to go right back to it and show everybody what's up.
That's the way to go. So just to clear things up here, which I didn't mention before. So Jesse is a natural athlete, and obviously being natural myself, this is something that I've always really kind of hit home, especially with the supplementation. I want to make sure that everything, and we do with Kaged Muscle, is BSEG certified. Mm-hmm. So it's banned substance free. And I try to keep everything as natural as possible in regards of like no ACEs, no colors, no artificial flavors and all that sort of crap. Because what we do in the gym is to enhance our health, same as the way we eat, to enhance our health. And supplements obviously shouldn't be any different, and it definitely shouldn't allow you to fail a test for a stimulant or anything like that. So we want to keep this across the board so everybody can take a supplement knowing that it's not only benefiting their performance and their recovery, but their health goals as well. And you can go into any sort of natural competition, whether it be a powerlifting, bodybuilding or athletic, knowing that you will pass a drug test because what you're taking is a natural substance that is pure and patented, you know. So it's based with, so now you can know that you're going to be absolutely fine taking, I promise.
Yeah, that's one reason why I chose to, sign with Kaged Muscle is they're transparent, their products are clean, there's lots of research.
Not because of me?
Well,
oh, okay.
You're a nice touch to that.
Right,
you're an added. But no, the products are great and quality, and I know I can trust them. So that's absolutely one reason I stand behind it. So.
Right, and one of the main reasons that I've, in all honesty, never even thought about signing an athlete, especially a male athlete, because I'm like, what's wrong with me? You know what I mean? But, in all honesty, after being introduced to you, from Candice here, and watching you online and seeing, how the way you kind of carry yourself, you're very humble, you're very quiet, you're kind of reserved, you do things very different to a lot of people. It's very unique, the way that you look, the way that you train. A lot of the time, we're in the Mecca gym here today, would you believe it?
Yeah.
But, you train at your garage, I'm going to say. I'm not going to say garage, the American version. I'm going to say garage. And, you know, for me, I could not do that. It's, you know, the home is designed to relax and have distraction. But I guess, you know, you are in the zone, you know exactly what you want, and you're going to do everything that you can within your means to go after it. But you're not aggressive about it. You're very calm, you're very relaxed, you're not shouting and screaming before your lifts. Nobody would even know that you're here except seeing a bar bend, you know. So this is something, you know, I really acknowledged, and I wasn't looking. It's like, you know, this is a great opportunity, and we're both here in Boise. So I'm really excited to have you on Kaged Muscle. I really, really am. And hopefully we can get some video content as well in the future, so we can teach not just me, but the guys out there, not just to kind of look like we lift, but to lift at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's the best way, to have a functional look, that you look like a kind of a bodybuilder, but you can lift like a power lifter. That's the best of both worlds.
That is, absolutely. That is like my biggest goal. Be strong, look strong.
So you mentioned that this was a water test. I don't understand what that is. Can you elaborate?
Yeah, so the water, as far as what I understand, the water testing is much more in depth and conclusive, because the IPF Federation is trying to get the sport into the Olympics. So they're trying to follow, you know, all these rules. But in the past, it was never a water panel or anything like that. Like before, I've taken the product Craze, and I've been drug tested. And what I did not know is what they only drug tested for anabolics in the past. And of course, I didn't pop for anything if it's just anabolics. So I really was not concerned about the product or what I took, because I've been fine before. However, over the last, 6 or 7 years now that I've been within the IPF, I've been drug tested 3 to 4 times a year consistently, and I've passed every single one of those. So it's just never been, I guess, the consistency of me passing, and I've never just had to worry about anything. It's, you know, never came up that I need to worry about what's in the product I'm taking. So
right, gotcha. So I take it, and what I've heard is that you are like the most tested athlete.
Probably one of the most tested athletes. I know there's probably some argument out there that maybe someone else gets tested more often than I do, but I'm definitely on their list to look out for.
So one of the things that I feel that I've got in common with here, with Jesse, obviously is not going to be the strength by any means, but I feel it's the passion and it's the drive to always move forward. And that's with everything, you know, that I do and that I believe that you do. You know, everything is all about a constant journey of improvement, of evolution. You know, with the supplement line, I want to continue to innovate. With myself, physically, mentally, I always want to grow. You know, I want to continue to self-educate and grow in every portion of my life. And, you know, we don't just look for a standard, we set the standard. You know, I know what my goals are, you know, going forward, and that is to create much more, you know, great content. And now, you know, hopefully being in the same vicinity as you, that we can continue to do that together and give these people the right information that's not only correct, that will allow them to evolve, but they'll be inspiring and motivating and become viral, and they'll want to spread with other people. I know what my goals are. What are yours specifically in 2016?
Right, so my next goal is going to be at the Arnold Classic. I'm going to be in this thing called the Cage. It's a really intense lifting environment. Huge guys, strong guys, athletes just like myself, setting records, setting the standard for others. Myself, I'm going to be going in for a 500-pound squat for 24 reps. 24 reps, that's a lot of reps, man. Yeah, I'm training for it now.
Well, yeah, you were hitting like 20s here. Pretty good, pretty impressive.
405 for 20s Saturday, and we're just going to improve upon that. And current world record, 23 reps, I believe. So if I can beat that by 1 or 2, I'll walk away very happy if I can still walk. So.
Another feather in the hat, though.
What's that?
Another feather in the hat.
Yes. Yeah, it's just another one.
Okay. All right. Perfect. So thank you very much, Jesse. I appreciate your time here.
Hey guys, so thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please leave a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Leave your comments below, and we'll see you guys next time.
Perfect. Much better than I could do, mate. Cheers, brother. Yeah.